Well, hello again. YouTube is Petey Twofinger, and I wanted to talk about my disability. So, I had this accident when I was a kid. I started playing acoustic guitar. I realized I fell in love with it, and this was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And then I had an accident, and I ended up missing my fingertips on my fret hand, except for my index finger and my pinky. So when I play the guitar or the bass or any stringed instrument, I am only fretting with my pinky and my index finger. If you see me with finger cots or black things on these middle fingers, those are not Iommis or rubber tips or prosthetic devices. They're just cloth just to keep them warm. And that's because when they did the reconstructive surgery, which is called a VY digital block, the circulation is not what it should be. So they're extra sensitive to cold and really to anything. Like sitting here, I can feel them, these fingertips, that they're not what they should be. There's significant scar tissue. They're just bum fingertips. Like there's no way I could ever use them even with prosthetics. So if you see me with things on them, those are just cloth, like glovesies, or like if you cut off a glove. And that's because if it's chilly, they go numb and they burn, and my whole hand starts to. So oftentimes I'll have like a cloth glove and I'll roll that up into my palm, so it's just on the end of my hand. You see me with this one glove. No, I don't think I'm Michael Jackson. That's because I have reconstructive surgery on my hand. Okay. So what they did was called a VY digital block. They cut the bone was sticking out. They cut a V here and they pulled that skin up over the bone to back where the nail is, and they stitched it all up. Now, because they pulled it, it left a section on the bottom where it now appears that it's a Y because the V moved up. It left a little bottom there. So that's why when the doctor was working on me, he told me I'm performing a VY digital block. Now, I've looked this up. I've never found anything on Google. I just remember that's what he told me when I was on the table. So if like you were, hey, two-finger, think fast and throw a football, and I caught it, I would more likely be curled up in the fetal position making whale noises, because if I even wrap this on a table, they're unbelievably sensitive to pain. So how like this, there's a place for me to press down on the string. I don't have that at these the way that these are. There's just no way I could use them. This one is so ridiculous, comically wide. And then this one, they did two V's on each side. So there's this line that comes down the center that's unbelievably hypersensitive. And that's like pins and needle pain. It's like kind of numb, but if I touch it, it's super sensitive. So that's why I couldn't like put padding and then have leather or rubber tips. That pressure on there is a no-no. So if I was able to use prosthesis, I would have. How the story goes, in my family, everybody played music. It wasn't a big deal. It was just part of what you did. You know, people sang in the choir or played the organ at church. It was like music. Everyone could do it. And I was raised with the trumpet. But when I discovered, first it was a synthesizer, it was the Casio VL1. And it had you could program sounds and then a memory. So I was doing what the Beatles did. Like the lead for the song Something, George Harrison's lead, I would get a guitar sound out of this, and then I would program that in there and play it back. And my mom asked me to put on a show for the relatives, and my aunts and uncles were like interested, and like I felt like I had some self-worth for once in my life. I had an older brother who picked on me and abused me. So my childhood was not good. And it was violence from my father. So it was bad news coming up, like really bad, really bad. I mean, we had money, but um, when I got into the acoustic guitar, I was able to tune it. I learned how to tune it, and I was playing. We had seen this movie Deliverance. I was playing the theme from the Dueling Banjos, and I had realized that this is something that I love to do and I want to do for the rest of my life. And then I had the accident. So when I healed up, I had to sit down at the edge of my bed and get my guitar, and you know, it was not a good day. It was, where are we going from here? Can I use these things? And the answer to that was no. You'll never be able to use them to fret an instrument. It's just out of the question. So the second thing was, well, do you retire from this thing? You're just not going to play the guitar? I couldn't. Like, that was the only reason I wanted to live, was to play the guitar. So what I came up with that day on the end of my bed was an alternate tuning. This is where you take the second string. So the way you guys tune your guitar, you'll tune a B, and that's the second string. It's this one here. Is that the fifth string or the second? If we're coming from the high note being the first string, it would be the second. So that second string is a B, and I tune it a half step to a C. So then I can fake cowboy chords. People like to bring up Django Reinhardt. Django Reinhardt was a motherfucker before he had his accident, and after his accident, he had his index finger and his ring finger. I do not have the use of my ring finger. I have this little piggy that went wee all the way home. I don't have that. So the quickest way to like kick me in the balls is say stuff like, just slow down, Jagger Reinhardt. Well, that's great. Next. After they did the reconstructive surgery, I'm left with this, they're useless. They hurt all the time. They get cold. My hand ices up, so I'm wearing a glove, and now I find myself wearing finger cots. And then people come in the video making comments that I'm using rubber prosthesis. So I did not give myself the nickname. I was in a band. Like I said, my initial idea was I was a guitar player, and then, of course, I ended up on the bass. And I excelled at the bass. Now, there's something you can do with an electric guitar when you have a distortion on and an echo and you bend the note. You can't really do that with the bass. So the whole time I was with the bass, I stuck with the guitar. Now I've come back, and I can do both. But at a time, there was a time I was a hot shit bass player. and I can sing in key, harmony. I can sing, back then I could sing high harmony. So that was my story. Now, by the time 96 came, I swore I would never work with another musician. I'm going right into home recording, and I'm going to learn how to do that. And my goal was to create music that could move me or ring that same bell as the stuff that I grew up getting off on, Pink Floyd or Beatles. So that's what I'm doing, and I love doing it. But when people start going, bro, you need to get some rubber tips, or if I, like going back to that day when I sat on the edge of the bed, I worked through all that. And where I'm at with it now is the same place I was when I sat on that end of that bed, where I'm going to try my hardest to make do with what I have. These two guys here and my little alternate tuning. And if I can't fool you, I can't fool you. But I'm going to do my best. I'm doing this again. It has nothing to do with money. It's just something I love to do. And I try really hard. It takes up a real lot of my time. But I would never have it any other way. I absolutely love doing it. I just don't like when people bro me. When they go, bro, you need to Django Reinhardt, or, you need to get some rubber extent. Like, don't you think I would have thought of that myself like 40 years ago? So this video, unfortunately, I kind of have to update as time passes and I get new people in the comment section. I think you don't even know. Like, you just think it's petey twofinger, ha ha ha. No, I'm really missing my fucking fingers, and I'm playing this music. So for whatever that's worth is whatever it's worth. I realize it's not a big deal, but I'm not some impressive musician. I can't fly up and down the fretboard and Jimmy Page or Yngwie Malmsteen, and that's all that is important. And if that's all what it means to be a guitar player, then I'm not a guitar player. But I'm going to continue doing what I love to do, and I just hope that people can kind of give me a break and understand where the situation is. And if you're curious about that, all you got to do is sit down and put some tape around these two fingers and pull them back and go ahead and give it a shot. See how you sound if you only use your index and this little piggy who went wee all the way home. And then get back to me. Anyway, you guys, we got the set of 15 songs that we've been working on. I'm really excited about it. I know I've become an even better guitar player than I was last year just with this set, but I still haven't really figured it out with these new pieces of music yet. So I'm hoping that there'll be time for me this year to get all that out on tape with these remotes and bring that music and upload that here on YouTube for you guys to experience with me. So I'm excited about that. This music, it's challenging, and I'm really excited to share that with you guys. So I hope you'll stick around and join me in exploring the beauty of music and making music. That's really what this channel is all about. Making music, making the tools to help you do that, get that job done. Like I said, I'm petey twofinger. They don't call me that because I'm missing my toes. So I won't ask you for much, but I will ask you to hug your pets, and peace.